1, 2, 3. Hai, hey, post credit Faiz. Quick shout out kepada yang donate untuk episod ini, iaitu Liz Sekejap aku tengok. Iaitu Liz Naziri, Alif Haikal dan Nur Hazimah dan juga Ajim. Terima kasih sebab korang support untuk episod ni. Kalau korang nak jadi donor, link dekat bawah. Dan kembali kepada episod. Hello, hi. Kembali lagi another episode of JeninBercerita. Seperti biasa, aku Pak A, host korang. And this is the second episode of this year. Before aku mula, aku cuma nak cakap terima kasih kepada sponsor venue, which is Temu House. Seperti korang boleh tengok kat belakang ni, segala artwork. Temu House bukannya eksklusif for only art scene. Kalau korang ada idea for music, for a screening, korang boleh juga contact. People dekat sini sangatlah open. Boleh je korang bounce ideas. Alright, so untuk tambahan, kalau korang nak support podcast ni, korang boleh buy kita orang punya merch. Tahun ni aku buat merch. Jadi kat situ korang boleh support and donate. Segala keterangan akan ada video dekat sini. Okay, so podcast episod ini akan fokus dalam art collecting. Jadi untuk that topic, aku dah jemput seorang art collector, which is Bingley. Okay, sorry for pronunciation. Alright, so can I call you uncle here?
Oh, no. Brother will be good.
Brother. Okay, so, why not you first introduce yourself dulu?
Okay, maybe a very short introduction. I'm Bingley Sim. I've actually been collecting art for nearly 20 years now. Currently, I'm also a board member of the National Art Gallery Malaysia, also a patron of Art Jakarta. I do get involved in quite a lot of corporate clients when they have art competition like Carex and Mr. DIY, where I am also the judge for the competition. And last year, I was also the external assessor for Malaysian Institute of Art. Oh, I work as well in CIMB.
Wow. So before we get to all of that, I want to listen about your first involvement in the art scene and how did you get the interest in art?
Okay, I bought my first art piece in 2005. It was in Wailing Gallery. It was actually called something else before, Townhouse Gallery. A friend just asked me to go to a show, which I've actually never been before. So when I actually went there...
So that was your first exhibition?
The first exhibition I first purchased as well.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I've been to other exhibitions before, not as a collector, but, just visiting galleries, since I've been at university and when I was much younger. So I bought my first piece of work in 2005. But I actually became a collector 3 or 4 years later. So there's actually quite a bit of difference between buying artwork, being an art collector.
What is the difference?
Okay, in 2008, I was in House of Mata Hati with Bayu, and he was, I went there to see a piece of work. Then he asked me to come into his studio, and there was this black piece of work, about 8 feet by 5 feet, completely black, and it's actually embossed with words like cinta, very hurtful words. Cinta, love can be very painful. So dukkha and all the words. And in the whole painting, there's one red dot, and it's got an image of a fighter pilot. So that was just after the election, 2008, and we have 2008 at the bottom and a cross at the top. So at that point in time, I realized what art collecting is, because it's no longer buying an artwork for investment. It's not longer buying an artwork to hang on the wall, and it's more like I look at it and I realize I must want that piece. I will need to have that piece, although it's completely black except for that red dot. First thought came to my mind was, what would my mother say if I put in the house a whole big black painting? You can't actually see it unless you have lighting on it. Then of course, what would my wife say? notwithstanding what they think or what they say, I got an artwork. And from then on, I consider myself an art collector. Why? Bayu's done it because it's just right after the election. They say there's a tsunami when a few states actually went to the opposition party, and that's the first time where the opposition really make a headway in the political scene. So that really affected the whole Malaysian art scene. Being a banker, I saw stock market crash. I saw millions and billions wiped out from companies, and it really affected us all. Financially, we are talking politically, we are talking about a new sense of beginning as well. And that is exactly what art collecting is about. Contemporary artwork at that one point in time, and it actually fuels you. You actually get so attached to that artwork because of what's happening around you.
So during that moment, it was like a coincidence. Malaysian political scene was heading to a change, as well as you had an idea of what is art collecting.
Yes.
Wow. So yeah, do you have interest in art since you were little?
Well, actually, I remember this one goes back a few years. I have always been interested in art when I was in school, but art was never been an important subject when we were growing up, unfortunately. Then I still remember in 1978 when my dad took me to UK to go to studies there. Then before the school started, we went to visit a few art museums, and in the National Art Gallery in UK, in London, I think if one piece of art really struck me, and it was Turner. He actually painted that artwork, obviously not from photographs or what. It's actually from the experience, from the whole experience of being tied up on the mast, and feeling the storm hitting his face, the rain and all that. So his feelings, his whole expression from the artwork is actually from his experience of that being tied up, and at that point in time, I could feel could feel that that's how art works. It should be. That's how I got very interested in artwork. And of course, I never bought any artwork until much later, because you need to work and you need to have money in order to buy anything decent.
So when you started collecting, did you already have an artist or the kind of work that you want?
Okay, when I start buying art, not collecting, when I start buying art, as a banker, the first thing which came to my mind was buying art is another form of investment.
Oh, so you saw art as an investment?
Yes, much earlier on. That's before the Bayu's work. So, when what one tends to do is you look at the more reputable artists, those which have actually made a name for themselves. And I was actually looking out, searching out, because those days, way back in 2004 and 2005, it's not easy to check the background on artists. You have to look for books, you have to look for as much archives as possible to read up. So of course, I started buying my Yusuf Ghani, I started buying my Zulkifli work as well, and that's how it all got started, see. And it's only when I became a collector, from 2008 onwards, it's no longer buying for investment, and you actually buy art as a collector.
So how did that change happen?
Well, that happened after I saw that Bayu's black work in 2008. The title of the work is "Are You With Me or Are You Not?" So I forgot to tell you earlier that at that point in time, there were a lot of politicians jumping parties. In fact, it happened just after Perak, when one MP leaped into the other side, and that actually caused the state to change parties.
So during that piece of art started changing your perspective on artwork, and after that, were you searching for that same feeling in other artworks?
Okay, we don't have elections every day, but what I was usually looking for is that when you look at an artwork, visually is only visually anyone can look at an artwork, but how the artwork reaches the senses, how it evokes the feelings in you. And that's how I would like to say that every single artwork I buy now must actually give me that sense. But if I want to buy artwork for investment, because one question always asked people who are starting to collect artwork, should you buy, is it a good investment? It's not a good investment. It really depends on you. If you want to buy your work for investment, of course you buy the reputable artists, you have fewer pieces, you sit tight and you can sell it at auctions, you can sell it to a secondary sale later on. But if you want to buy artwork to decorate your house, then it has to be a bit more decorative. It must be things like your family, your mother, your wife, or your husband would like. But if you become a collector like myself, when artwork, buying artwork is more of a journey, you want to get involved in the ecosystem, then it's different and you always end up poor. You spend your whole time paying off galleries, paying off artists, paying off everyone, and you spend all your life owing people money because it doesn't. Buying artwork is just a journey, a hobby, a passion.
Hearing that, I got a glimpse between the difference between you buying an art as an investment, as a decoration, as well as a collector. So hearing that, being a collector, you more focus on whether it gives you the right feeling, right? So did the change happen suddenly? It just happened.
It just happens. That point in time, that black wheel painting actually makes me realize what art collecting is all about.
Before you didn't have that feeling, right?
No, not really. Before it was, wow, this artwork, if I buy, how much can it be worth in how many years? I was looking more of, more as an investment. So if you ask me, has it been worthwhile? If you ask me, is it worthwhile buying artwork for investment? If your whole intention is to buy artwork for investment, you just buy, make sure that it's actually an artist which has a following, and you just track all the auctions which is happening. You should be okay, because the artworks I bought up to 2008, 2009, where those for investment, I've actually sold quite a few of them, and it's made me 3, 4, some of them 7 times. But if you ask me what about artworks, I buy as a collector the contemporary artworks. But to be honest, if I would, I think maybe half of them can't be sold, because my artworks are not easily appreciated by everyone. And whether you make money or you don't make money from selling the artworks, which as a contemporary collector, I to be honest, I don't think you will make money, because you have to find a buyer for your artwork.
So being a collector, the money became a secondary.
Yes. Money? No, you don't have money.
So I just want to know, how do you look at an artwork? Because personally, if I look at an artwork, the first thing I would look is that whether or not I like it, and then my second thought was thinking, what does that artwork mean to me? And the final step is that I read the artist description. Okay,
because I do have quite a big collection. I do collect quite a few artists. And then if an artist which I have been buying, I would have actually known what the type I would expect his type of artworks. No, so because I would want to make sure that whichever artwork which I look at it must also fit into my collection. For instance, I walk into this gallery, Temu just now, look around, and straight away there's one piece of work which I booked by Joanna Lu, and because that work, I have already collected quite a few works from Joanna, and I know what her type of style, and that work where you actually press it and it says no, that one was a work which it will suit and fit well into my collection.
So hearing this, I would say that the first thought when you look at an artwork is whether or not you feel something.
Yes.
And the second is whether or not it fits your collection.
Yes.
By fit your collection, what does that mean actually?
Okay, I have an art space. On the ground floor, I have quite a few artworks where there's images or imaginaries of Adam and Eve. So I have an Ed Roger piece of artwork, Chan Yongcha piece of work, and I have 2 or 3 other things where even a piece of artwork where it shows the beginning, a baby being born, and so basically that is how I say that it fits with the artwork. So depending on how different rooms in my art space will have different themes.
So you curate your own collection.
Oh yes, I
so
do.
every artwork has to have this theme. How do you create your collection?
No, because most of my artworks I couldn't even put it up. There's not enough space. But when it's not so much about curating, but it's more of when I buy an artwork, it must fit into my collection. But not all, because one of my reason for being a collector is to buy young and artists' work, supporting them when they graduate and all that. So that is also an interesting challenge. You have to know that artist is going to continue being an artist for the next 20, 30 years. The last thing you want is buy an artwork and the artist gone missing after 1 year. Then what do you do with the artwork? So you have to make sure that you want to make sure that the artist you can will be determined, will be actually focused on being an artist. I mean, these are things which you say, hey, hello, then what is the checklist? How do you check? But I do go to lots of art shows. I do speak with other art friends, art collectors. I do speak with artists, curators, and all that. So over time, you have a sense of your own database of information, right or wrong. I mean, it's for you to find out. It's just like buying shares. Over time, over the years, you know the character of the CEO of the company, and you say that this guy is trustworthy. 20 years later, he's still around and he's still trustworthy. The value of the company has gone up. Then you carry on buying shares in that company. Hard for me to differentiate between shares and art sometimes.
It's okay. It's part of you right now.
Yeah.
Talking about supporting the new artists, do you see a different style in the new artists than the old artists?
Oh yeah. Because there are so many different schools, so it also very much depends on their lecturers, their professors, their teachers. And you can see certain styles over time. So, but when you're talking about even for amongst the new artists, they've got different style. So for the older artists, the modernists and all that, they also have their own style. And there's no reason why a young artist cannot copy a modernist artist style of painting as well. So there's no hard and fast rule on style, or because you also have some very old artists whose works are very contemporary even at this point in time. It also reflects on what's happening in the world.
So do you stick with one style when collecting?
No. I do like figurative, but I starting to look a bit more into the abstract, although mine is a lot to do with the figurative at this point in time, because we do produce some very good figurative artists, but definitely not one style. I mean, if a landscape speaks to me, I would buy a landscape painting as well.
So during the change in collector scene, Do you feel any sort of improvement in the collecting community? Do you feel that the collecting community is expanding, or is it just static here?
You see, most collectors, new collectors which come in, they will buy only as far as how many paintings the wall can accommodate. So there are actually a lot new young collectors coming into the market. But in order to bring more excitement in the art market, we need to have more collectors who buy a lot, who are collectors who will buy more, because I feel that unlike Indonesia or Philippines, Malaysia, there are just not enough collectors. That's why we have started something called the One Piece Club. Last year, One Piece Club was started in 2005 in Japan. Basically, they encourage new and young collectors to start buying at least one piece of work, local artwork, a year. And of course, this OPC went to Indonesia, went to Singapore. It's also in Taiwan and in China. So, I was tasked to start having this OPC together with two other friends of mine, Brandon and Jonathan. And it has been actually very successful.
So tell us your journey in OPC.
It only started on the 1st April last year. So what we do is every month we try to have one or two shows. And of course, the shows are not just, there's an opening in Segaris, come and have a look. We will make sure that there is an arrangement with the gallery. Then Segaris will say, okay, before the show opens to the public, OPC members can come and look at the artwork 2 days beforehand. And even for Temu, we also had an OPC event where the artist was here to actually walk us through for the OPC members. Art Jakarta actually hosted about 9 OPC members to Jakarta last year. They actually paid for the accommodation, and basically a group of us went to Indonesia, and they also took us around the different shows and all that.
So would you say that knowing the artists would invoke you to collect their art? Saying like you say that example, Temu House, the artists come and explain all of the artworks.
Yes. Knowing the artists will quite definitely help for you to look and to buy into artworks, but not necessarily invoke me to buy it. But because it has to be certain style. I do collect sculptures a lot as well. I do collect, a lot of people would say that quite a few of my works are very quirky. And the current show in Temu now has many quirky type of artworks. And these are the type of artworks which I really do like.
I see. So it's more of a what are you trying to collect right now lah?
Yeah. But I must say that I'm not going out to. There's so many exhibitions. Last count, there's at least 5 or 6 openings tomorrow. Wow. So there's no way you can go to all the artworks exhibitions anyway.
Are you picky about your exhibition?
I have to now because I've really have no space left in my where I store my artwork.
So like talking about that, I want to know the relationship between an artist, the collector, and the gallery owner. Where do you stand between? I mean, as a collector, you have to have your relationship with the galleries, as well as you have to find your relationship with artists. So in my view, the collector is like the middle guy. You have to be, how should I say this? Be nice to the artists and the galleries. Is that, if I'm putting it right?
The ecosystem is very important. Yeah. There are so many galleries. A collector will always end up going more often to a few galleries than others, because there's only you get along better with some of the galleries rather than others. Whereas some galleries will have their list of artists, and then you like that sort of artists, because in Segaris they actually promotes a lot of UITM artists, young and old. So if you like the UITM artworks and artists, then Segaris is a brilliant place to be. Whereas if you look at A+, they actually promote a lot of regional work of up and coming, cutting edge artworks. And it's not the type of artwork you can buy and just stick on the wall. So if you like this type of artworks, A+ is the place for you to go to more often. So there's a reason how as a collector, which gallery, after a while you find the gallery which you get comfortable to. But when talk about the artists, you see, I find it very wrong for collector to go to artists and try to get the artworks much cheaper than what they sell. Yeah, of course, in my early days, all collectors would like to buy the artworks cheaper. But if an artist starts selling to collectors outside the galleries at a price which is about 40%, 30% cheaper than the gallery price, next time the artwork goes to the gallery, the artworks will not be sold. Because the collectors will say, hey, I can actually buy much cheaper directly from the artist. So this is actually, as you get more and more collectors in the scene, a lot of them will start going to all the artists and try to get them to sell them at much cheaper prices. I'm not saying that I don't do that. But what I meant to say is, okay, after a show has ended, say you have 10 pieces and you only sold 2 pieces of work. The works return to you after 1 year. And as an artist, sometimes you need to sell the works to survive. Then maybe about 2 years later, the artists whom I collect the works which I like, approach me. I wouldn't say that I would say no, I wouldn't buy your work at the price you're offering me. I'll buy the work. But what I'm just saying that I don't think it's very right for collectors to go to the artists and try to get the works before it goes to the studio, because it will mess up the ecosystem. However, because I've actually been in the scene for quite a few years, many artists are good friends of mine. I mean, there's a group of them which I do art jamming with. I do that, with about 4 or 5 of them, and we come to the house and we do art jamming, and then when we have events, the artists also, some of the other artists will come to the shows. So we do not. I don't want to differentiate an artist and a collector as completely different.
Yeah, I could see that during your Instagram post. It's like you are building a real relationship rather than just I'm a collector and you are an artist. Yeah.
No, because one of the reasons I started drawing during COVID, and I realized that learning to draw or knowing to draw or wanting to draw is not having to go to art school to learn. It's actually the many hours, tens and hundreds of hours I spend with artist friends, and they talk about work, they get the ideas. Imagine instead of just learning one thing from one lecturer, I'm actually learning 50 things from 50 artists. So you actually get lots of ideas. You actually sometimes when you see them draw, you actually learn it subconsciously. It's over the years and you see how they do it. See? So so that's the reason why I have all that. Because we do enjoy like say meeting up the artists, and I just enjoy opening up my Moleskine, and then artist is there, I start drawing his face and all that. See? Because there's no right or wrong for me. See? I've never been taught what to draw, how to draw. See? So I'm not too worried about making mistakes.
So do you consider, I'm just thinking about perception of someone just starting to buy art, so it would be good for them to search for the galleries that they find they're comfortable with, as well as try to build a real connection between the artists?
No, on the contrary. If you are a new collector, you just have to visit as many galleries as possible and study. And nowadays you go to the internet, it's so easy to find out the background of the galleries and artists. Study as much as possible, go to art auction and make friends with as many art collectors, especially the more senior one, and learn from the collectors what to buy, what they think is the right thing to buy, rightly or wrongly, doesn't matter, because I've also learned a lot from the likes of Pakarudin, from Professor Rampal, and they've collected 15-20 years before me. So the mistakes, what they've done right, you learn from them. So you just speak to as many collectors as possible. Join the One Piece Club. Everything's there, because it's not making friends with the artists, because some artists do not want to make friends with you anyway. I mean, it's not you can't just go up to artists and say, hey, come, let's go to to your studio, and because most artists would not want to do that, especially the young artists. So if you come a place like One Piece Club, a lot of the young new collectors suddenly realize that they don't feel out of place. They don't feel, because sometimes you walk into any gallery, even I go to a gallery, say outside Malaysia, or a gallery in Malaysia, which I've never been before. You walk in and you feel a bit awkward. All the gallery assistant will stare at you, or some of them just ignore you. Others will come out and keep asking you, can I help you, and all that. Then you feel out of place. Whereas if you go with a group of people like OPC, we go together, and even one OPC member actually said that, thank me, and say, this is the first time I go into an art show and I feel so welcome. Wow. Although I didn't buy anything. And another actually will ask question like, hey, I buy that artwork, does it come with a frame? But no one laugh at you. It's okay, you can ask anything you want. So I'm not saying that OPC is the only place. If you have a group of friends and you know that there are galleries which welcomes new and young collectors, by all means just do that. See.
So having a group of friends really help you into collecting arts.
Yes.
So being at OPC, at first when I heard about OPC, I was a bit skeptical. But after seeing your post during the 100 exhibition, 100 tiny exhibition, and then I have that thought of, OPC is really doing something to encourage buying art. But right now, based on my observation, you are only focusing on the Klang Valley area. So do you have any plans of expanding it?
Yes. I mean, we have the Lee Kai in Penang, and we always kept asking us to start that in Penang. I mean, Penang would be the next natural choice because the art scene is wide enough. But if I have a chance to do it wider, I definitely would like to. But you have to remember that whatever we do, it's all of us are even, we don't collect a single cent. So whatever we organize, whatever we do, we have the galleries to thank because they will sponsor the things. But if we like you say, not even Penang or Kelantan, we also go to Indonesia and Singapore. In fact, Singapore, we have an OPC event in January. So we actually do have events. So to have one in Perak, there are a few artists, lecturers in Perak, which I visited recently, and they said that please bring your OPC members and see to Perak. But I would love to do it, but it's not to organize transportation and all that is something which we don't have a single cent of funding, so we have to just coordinate and we do that. So it's no hard and fast rule. It's not that this has to be done, that has to be done. But I'll give you a very good example. But before I give you my example, you say you're a bit skeptical when you first started. I would like to know the reason why.
Because I had that idea of this is going to be a group of people who said they are opening up to make people like into collecting. So I thought it was just a slogan. It's gonna be the same thing. It's a group of people are gonna go to this gallery, and like it's not gonna be totally new lah. I mean,
Okay, I'm glad you say that because when I first got started, there's some skeptics saying, "Oh, what is Bingley up to now? Is he going to just go to his friends in gallery and promote his few artists he's very friendly with?" No, I mean I'm actually very conscious of not doing that for sure. Say so. Okay, going to my other point, I have recently there was a show, Cetak show, which is all the print work. So we actually able to arrange with Budin and the team for us to bring a group of people to a show 2 days before the actual opening, or maybe the night before. So but when we went there, it's not matter of just look at the print work and for sale, but it's more of they have all the artists there doing the print work. So OPC member, you can try out. This is how it's done and all that. And after the event, I spoke to the promoters of Cetak. I say, hey, maybe we can have another event where, because OPC members, a lot of the young ones, they make the price point lower. Then you have a show and to sell the artworks and all that. They say, of course. I say, of course. And you know why? Because on the day the OPC members went to the gallery, 17 artworks were sold. You know, prints, there are a lot of editions. Actual opening 2 days later, they sold only 3 or 4. So what I'm not saying that OPC members go there will buy works and all that, and so it's very biased. There are 20 galleries, why just 3 and not the other 17? We definitely make sure that it's as unbiased as possible. We have other, we are open to criticism and all that. Anyone to say, hey Bingley, why are you doing this? You don't have to. Brandon will tell me, I'll tell Brandon and Jonathan, and we actually try to make it. I like to think that we will be open. We will not be in a position where people would say that there is actually bias and all that. Say.
You try to make OPC as open as possible, as welcoming as possible. Right?
And it's not something I want to do to promote certain people. If there's anything which is happening, which I think is good, we get the OPC members to turn up. In fact, Henry Butcher auction, we actually had a talk with a group of us, and the talk was actually on how does auction work and why you buy the auction work and what is the valuation of an auction. We actually did that. So there's also something which I think it would be so helpful. I wish I had there's OPC 20 years ago when I first collected. Then it would be so easy for me to just plow along. In fact, tomorrow there is going to be a bincangan seni between a group of us. There's Awang Damit, Johari and myself, moderated by Sarah. It's Gallery Putih, and basically it's actually a discussion. The title of discussion is Masih Ada Ruang. There's still space. So Awang's work is there. So of course, what do you mean by Masih Ada Ruang? There could be a lot of things. Could mean that is there space for Awang to pursue different artwork. But the reason they asked me as the president of OPC is, are new and young collectors open to buying and appreciating modernist artworks? Masih ada ruang ke? Because the young and new collectors seems to be going more for the contemporary. Are they interested in Sharifah? Are they interested in Latif? Are they interested in Awang? Or they're only looking at contemporary artworks? So there's discussion. So I've actually opened this to OPC members to come. I mean, it's not just for OPC, but it's actually open to public. But I send the invite out. OPC, do come and give your views. I can only speak partially on their behalf, but I would like to see some OPC members stand up and say no or yes.
Wow, that's a good initiative.
Yeah.
Probably gonna go lari tajuk sikit, because this is something yang I personally want to hear your opinion on, which is AI art. Because I have friends with a few artists. They say that AI is stealing our work. That's how they generate it. And at the same time, I forget one article from AYY probably. He said that for an artwork is have to have a purpose. The first purpose for an artwork is to capture the view, and then the camera happened. So which led to the second purpose of artwork, which is having a meaning in your art. But if an AI can get that, probably it's time to find a third meaning for art. So yeah, I like that point out. I like that article.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, I want to know your perspective as a collector.
Okay, I have actually two comments about AI. First, as a collector, I would like to treat AI art as another form of art, meaning NFT is another form of art. There's no stopping me buying NFT. Sculptures, nowadays, you can even buy videos, then you can also buy noise or even installation. So to me, as a collector, I'll just treat AI as another form of art. I'm not going to be too jostled or affected by AI art. I have seen many AI artworks done when you say that I want the work done the batik style like Khalil, and then something will come out, and it looks nice, fine. So, but what does it do? So you can say that someone prints out, someone paints it. It is an AI. But the value you put to it, but you actually, then are you selling that as an AI by robot A or B? Or are you selling an AI art by Ai Weiwei, which is not done by anything to do with Ai Weiwei, but it's an AI version of an Ai Weiwei's art? Then I'll just treat it like NFT. I just treat it like something else. I'll just give you, personally, I don't think AI art will survive from in the context of art collecting. I may well be wrong. So someone actually said to me once, those days before iPhone, before camera, artists will have to remember the scene and go back and paint and all that. Then when the camera came, they start saying that, oh my God, we don't need artists. And then when it becomes color camera, why do you need artwork anymore? It's even more perfect. Then, of course, the realism and the paintings of what people done before they changed. Maybe that's where the modernist artworks come in, and then you have the Picasso and all that came in. But what happened to camera as an art? In the end, they start twisting the image of the photographs to make artwork. So then photography is now one element of art, but it's not, no way has it overtaken the artworks, I say. So for me to do a good AI artwork, there's no, I think it's just another form. The only danger is a young artist comes along and say, okay, I want to do an AI work like Ibrahim Hussein. Then something comes out, he prints it out, then he paints over it, and So, but I can do a bit other work, or I want to paint like Yusuf Ghani. The words come along, you just print out, you paint over it, and you don't say it's AI. That is dangerous. But then again, a lot of people, when they do figurative artworks, they use projector. Some of the early days, people say, hey, that's cheating. But there's nothing cheating. Right? You just have project on the wall, and you draw your artwork. So I've actually asked some very senior lecturers, and they say that's okay to do that. So, okay, I mean, there's no stopping, but when people look at it, it's so realistic, they know it's, you must have a use of projector. But I think AI art will transform over time into another form where it becomes much more collectible. Look at NFT. 3 years ago, nobody talks about anything but NFT. Do you hear?
Now, nobody.
Yeah. So it's not. So AI art happens to be a form of art which is I think interesting, because a friend showed me recently, said, I'm going to do my own Chinese New Year cards. I just mentioned dragon, looks like this and that, and all came out very tardy, tacky. Because everything is there. But it's okay because you can't stop that. But like I say, the minute you start using AI to do the thing for you and you paint over, then I think it will be quite sad, because it's not from your heart.
Our our personal human touch isn't there.
Just like okay, you're too young to remember the cassettes and all that, and CDs. When CDs became very popular in the early 80s and mid 80s, people were saying that, hey, who want to buy a record? Then I got some friends who actually say that you can't listen to Neil Young on a CD because it's so perfect. You need the cracking. You need the cracking noise. And then how else can you don't, it's not the same. So you need that. So when things are too perfect, it just diminish the invoking that sense of the feelings in you. See. But young people nowadays, I don't know.
Yeah, quite an interesting conversation we are having right now.
But thanks so much for the invitation. I do apologize for not speaking Bahasa.
So yeah, I would like to end the episode here. So Bingley, are there any last words?
Well, no, I don't think I have any last words. But thank you again for all your time and accommodating, my slot as well.
So yeah, that is it. Thank you guys for watching. Dan harap korang dapatlah new perspective or an idea of what is art collecting.
Or join the OPC.
Join the OPC, of course. So yeah, if you guys want to support the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Dan kalau nak contribute, boleh donate, boleh beli merch nanti. InsyaAllah akan keluarkan. And yeah, that is all. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Terima kasih.